Hey guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. And today we are looking at May number 2 by Gene Ha and the Eight of Pentacles, the zombie card in our fantasy tarot deck. I really love this deck. I love the concept of the deck. The art's not, but it's a zombie. Yesterday was Frankenstein. We had Baron Samedi. That's a very cool deck. So anyhow, this is May number 2 by Gene Ha for Dark Horse. And this story follows the same pattern as the first issue. And I really like this. I really like how this is done. It's it was described as portal fiction, which is interesting to me, but really what this is a fantasy story that justifies the need for superheroes. But there aren't any. So this is Dark Horse, like I said, and it starts off the way the other one started off, in the mundane world. Everything is normal, and it's hard to believe Abby's story after having been missing for years, that she was off in another realm fighting monsters and defending the innocent. But here we get her feet on the couch. I love the art style. This is very rough. It's like Ben Edlund's The Tick, only it has colors. And so this is May. It's morning. This is her older sister, Abby. And Abby is hungover. And May is in denial. I don't know if May saw the creatures in yesterday's issue or if that was Abby's friend. I thought she did. Yeah, the smoke, because she hit one with a bottle in the head. The guy in the hoodie. The monster in the hoodie. The cat-faced guy. The little Ewok. And so anyhow, here they are having breakfast. They're talking about going to see Dad. Abby says maybe later. May says, "Can I see your fantasy realm?" Abby says, "Now's not a good time." So this is the, personal obstacles in the relationship scene. And it's necessary and it's well done. And like I said, it's mundane. This is normal life. You pick up the comic. Let's say you didn't see the first one. You heard the first one is awesome, but the second one's even better. And you don't need to read the first one at all. So she's going to go see her dad, and Abby's not going with her. And there's a moment here where you sort of feel like Abby's going. Abby also asks for money. That's the last, "Can you give me some money?" So that is, again, now this doesn't make you turn the page, but wow, what an ending. This is a great ending to a 3-page scene. And that's what this is, a 3-page short story of sisters who haven't seen each other forever having their first breakfast. And Abby goes off dressed like, what does she say, Paul Revere or Marco Polo or something like that. May makes fun of her. So this is May's dad. He looks a lot like my dad a little bit, sort of mustache and hair. And he is Eastern European. It sounds like he's not English as his first language. He's English as his second language. He's getting drunk with these guys first thing in the morning. They're doing shots. And he wants to know where Abby is, and he wants to see her. And Abby is getting a fatty meal. And she can't believe she ate all that. And what beautiful artwork. It's not the same kind of motion as Amy Reeder's cartoony style. This is way more comic book pitch for a live action film as comic book pitch for a cartoon. This doesn't justify a cartoon. This story doesn't justify a cartoon, but this story could easily be a sci-fi TV show or USA TV show or even NBC. This story is that good. I like it that much. It would have to get network, you'd either have to know someone or you'd have to have a huge audience. But you could probably get independent TV just by being good. And Dark Horse, they know people, they know people. And every week it gets cheaper to make TV and movies. The most expensive thing to make for TV and movies right now are the people, not the equipment. It used to be the equipment, it used to be the power, it used to be everything. Now it's the people, and feeding the people and getting them there on time, keeping them sober, all the things you have to do. Abby is in the supermarket and she's bumped into her 3rd grade teacher. She is shopping for pepper and chocolate, which is what you do when you are Marco Polo. Her sister, May, gets home and finds the monsters at her door. This is comic book. Apologies for all the throat clearing and ums and sniffles and all the sounds you guys get when this doesn't get properly edited. Abby arrives just in time. I wish this were colored, but I mean it is, but it's not. But she smacks one of these guys with her hammer, knocks two of them down. This is the guy you've got to worry about. I think these are lights above his eyes, and his mouth is in there. It's kind of a prophet or ancient Greece and Grecian helmet. Here, look at the size of this giant cat. This guy's giant mouth. He's got machetes or butterfly swords, as they're called in China. Abby is standing still in front of him. I don't want to turn the page. I really love the scarcity of panels. I love how few panels they're doing in this comic. They don't need a bunch of small panels to tell this story. And they use those in the scenes where they're justified. I like big page images. She knocks the guy out. Effortless. Fatality. But this guy is a fire demon, and he can set anything on fire. Cars, gas pipes, whatever's nearby. Magic still plays a role. Or it's some kind of super technology. And plus he gets green word balloons. He's an important individual. So that demon has just destroyed May's apartment. I thought she was in a 2-story building, but anyhow, the only thing left is the facade. And he's not done threatening them. He's holding a cigarette and a lighter, and a lady police officer arrives. This is not going to end well. This is a great comic. This is a great, great, great comic. Rocket Girl was a great comic too, but Rocket Girl didn't know what it wanted to be. This comic knows exactly what story it wants to tell. And I love that he chose the secondary character as the main character. Abby is really the main character. Abby's the one we're interested in. May is her sister, her younger sister. Of course, the story we didn't get was the 9 years in the realm. And we're starting here. He knocks Abby out. Look at this giant cat. Never picking anyone up and shaking them in its mouth. May arrives to pick up Abby. Pushes her into the car. A comic like this is all about when you start the scene, where you place the camera, and when you cut. Everything after that is the characters. The characters are doing what they do. All you have to do is figure out when you cut into the scene, where you place the camera, and when you cut out. That's a story that tells itself. That's how I like to write. I work on the characters and I work on the scenario until the characters are three-dimensional people and I know everything that they would do in a scenario. And then it's my job as the writer-artist to choose when to start the scene, when to say action and roll cameras. They're living their life, right? I'm not going to follow them into the bathroom. It's my job to say, when do you hit action? When do you start recording? Where do you place the camera? And when do you stop it? So we think this is Dad, but it's not. That guy's taller than Dad. Dad is no taller than Abby. Those are Dad's friends that he was drinking with early in the morning, presumably. I'm not going to assume, but it is safe to presume. So their last name is Fortel. So Theodore Fortel, Theo Fortel, Abby Fortel, Abigail Fortel, and May Fortel, which is clever. We don't see that until the very end up here, the next page, I think. Ooh, look at that bright reflection. That's no good. I thought I wasn't getting any of that this issue. They are staying at May's friend's house, the girl who goes to Purdue. And Abby, I don't know where Abby's sleeping. May is sleeping on her friend's floor. The mom checks in on her. Where's Abby? She's out on the kitchen table. Abby must be in the living room. Anyhow, they're having a conversation. This is really sort of girl talk, which I don't know if as a writer, I would have not chosen to film this. She gives her a hat. So what's going to happen is Abby and May are going over to the other side tomorrow. They're staying at their friend's house for one night, and then this is it. This is it. I have a ninja babysitter story where Ashley goes into the dream realm, and it's something like this. I don't know if you guys have seen Outlander. Like I mentioned, my ex-girlfriend watched a couple seasons of that with me until I got gay and I just couldn't do it anymore. But this is the same sort of thing. A standing stone, a monolith. They're never flat like this. They're never monoliths like out of 2001. They're just standing stones, a lot of times with runes carved into them. And there's a special code, and Abby tells May's friend to watch. What is her? Willa, I think. I don't know. Oh, Dahlia. Dahlia. Dahlia is her friend's name, Dahlia. And Dahlia, as she gets up to it, the things disappear. So she doesn't have the magic in her blood to make the puzzle appear. She couldn't open the door if she wanted to, is what I'm going to think about that. Sorry about this. And the next page is, this is May's boyfriend, and that's where we see May Fortel. To be continued. No ads. Not a single ad in the entire comic. All right, let's do the next bit. Hey guys, I am John Carrick, and today we were looking at May #2 by Dark Horse Comics. It's a story about Abby's younger sister after Abby goes over to another realm and basically conquers it, becomes a queen. That's the story I want to hear. That's the story I want to see. Today's episode is brought to you by Legacy of Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox, my science fiction fantasy novels. Last night I got a new chapter done on the third novel, which is actually the sixth novel. 3, 4, and 5 have not been written. 3 is halfway written. 4 and 5. 4 was written years ago as a short story, but it's got to be a lot bigger. 5 is mostly written. It's going to be a video game. Excuse me. But 6, ow, the one I'm working on right now, I got another chapter done last night. I'm really happy. I got an hour of drawing done today. As soon as this is done, I'm going to go back and draw up for a while more this afternoon. It is heartbreaking to be better at drawing for the first time in my life, in my old middle age, after struggling and failing at it my entire life. You know, in all the little encouragement YouTube videos, they say that the worst thing that happens to you will turn out to be the best thing that happens to you. And losing the vision in my right eye has turned out to be incredibly good for my hand-eye coordination when it comes to putting the pencil on paper. And if you listen to Cliff High, he's convinced that the aliens are coming this summer, or 2032 or 2035 or whenever, and that your beliefs in your personal religious culture is nonsense and it's cargo culting. And the atheist side of my mind knows that's true, knows that people building wicker planes and praying to the sky gods to bring them Coca-Cola and toilet paper is silly. And nonetheless, I was raised Catholic, and so there's the artistic side of my brain that very much leans into religion and spirituality and karma and good deeds and all that sort of thing. So it's on that scale, this is much harder to manage. But the only thing I need to do is stay relaxed and not be anxious. That's my goal. My goal is to move out of the state of anxiety that I spent most of my life living in and just be relaxed. And the future is going to be what it's going to be, with or without my participation. Today we have conflicted number 3. These are writing prompts. These are really cool. This one, a guy named Gordon has to make a long journey, and he has to choose to go through a heavily populated city or a mountain pass. Apparently you can't choose both because you have to go one way, down through the valley and the heavily populated city, or up through the mountain pass. I suppose it depends on how much supplies you need. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you need to go through the city? Maybe you should get to the edge of the city, collect what you need, what's the supplies you need, because the chances that you're properly equipped just setting off on a hike with a stick and a bandana full of lunch meat and cheese and bread, the idea that you're equipped for the mountain pass might be laughable. You might need warm clothes, cordage to make lean-tos and whatnot. And so, yeah. Again, today's card was the zombie. And in terms of, look, I have leaned in to the race war over and over again on this channel and on X, making fun of people, making jokes. I would never hate someone because their parents are of separate races. I wouldn't treat them poorly because of that. At the same time, and I also want to say, the idea that the white race is going to go extinct, now that is a very real sort of fear, but there are more white people on the planet today than there ever have been at any time in human history. Everyone wants to come to our neighborhood. No one wants to go to their neighborhood. So I'm not worried about all that. Do the race war for fun because it's hilarious. And it's funny that we get every kind of joke hurled at us. Like, when it comes to being made fun of, I am absolutely anti-fragile now. Whereas I could shatter, how much insult would it take to shatter your light bulb? How many insults what word would I have to say to wreck your day? Usually there's just one or two. Most people are really, here's the problem with stereotypes and slurs, because they're true. They're accurate. And that's why people hate them, because it's easy. It's low-hanging fruit. And when it comes to comedy, the idea of comedy is to be mean without being able to get caught. That's what I'm getting from a lot of comedy is you can get away with being mean if you make them laugh. It's supposed to be you can get away with telling the truth if you make them laugh. You don't have to be mean. If you're leaning into being mean instead of telling the truth, criticism, it's hard to compliment and criticize at the same time. It takes a lot of effort. If you've ever had to if you've ever had to critique someone's artistic work, comic books are where this comes up a lot. Like, there's a lot to criticize about this book, but you can't criticize the heart and you can't criticize the art. There's some of the dialogue that's pretty cringe, but the character facial expressions are magnificent. The motion is incredible. And the story is uplifting and positive and hopeful. And yeah. So I'm really happy about where I am and what I'm doing. And that's all I can ask for. I'm doing my part. Everything else that's going on in the world, race wars, Jews taking over, you know, killing people for their land, corruption everywhere. You know what? That's why I'm doing art. That's why when I sit down, it's way more important when I sit down to write that I have a clear conscience than when I sit down to draw. I can be an evil motherfucker and draw. Drawing is engineering, and the eye problem was an engineering problem. I could have worn a patch and been drawing great for the last 20 years. I didn't think of it because I'm a stupid motherfucker. And if I had worked harder on drawing instead of writing, maybe I would have caught that. Now God solved the problem for me, if there is a God, or old age solved the problem for me. And old age is really going to solve the problems of comic books for me anyhow, because Gen X is the only generation that gives a fuck about comic books. Everyone else is doing new stuff. They're playing Fortnite. They're making, 8-bit games. So, yeah, I want to have all of it. I want a studio with all of it. I want a casino studio, like an arcade. Arcade. What a shitty bad guy. But yeah, that would be magnificent. That's my goal. And I'll get there. I'll get there or I'll die trying, because the path is worthy. Like walking this path, I'm a good person. If I was just trying to sell insurance in order to own another insurance agency and to open up a new market and to maybe buy into a sports franchise, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy at all. See you guys tomorrow.